Come on in, Jimmy on Clubhouse. We're getting ready to start another Clubhouse video. And today I'm going to give an update on what happened during my water fast, which I did officially end yesterday at the 18-day mark. So we're going to give an update on exactly what happened during the 18-day water fast, some of my thoughts about how it went, and just in general have a discussion about extended fasting. So welcome in, welcome in. We're going to get this show on the road over on Clubhouse. So thank you all for being here today. Appreciate you so much. Go ahead and engage in the content as we talk today. And if you have thoughts that I see relevant to the discussion, I will read them on the air. So thank you for being here. And here we go. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. Come on in, guys. Make yourselves at home. We're live over on Instagram right now on the Jimmy on Clubhouse page on Instagram. If you don't have access to Clubhouse, which everybody coming into the Clubhouse room does, but for those that don't, I simulcast all of these over on my Jimmy on Clubhouse Instagram page. But for those of you here on Clubhouse, this is the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. Definitely click on the green house at the top if you want to subscribe to this channel. We try to talk all things fasting here and give you lots of information. I did write a book about fasting called The Complete Guide to Fasting. If you're interested, with Dr. Jason Fung, that kind of talks about some of the reasons why you fast, how you should fast, all the ins and outs of fasting. But I have been on a journey the past 18 days that started on Sunday, the 28th of February, 10:30 a.m. Was when I officially started my fast. I was making a goal that week to go for 7 days of fasting. I did a guided fast right here on Clubhouse where we did daily check-ins and had lots of people involved. And at the end of that 7 days, I was still feeling so good, I didn't want to stop. And so I decided to keep going with the fast. And as I continued to go, I realized I think I could go a very long time. And so I put out a stated goal that I would like to go for 40 days of fasting. Now, the longest I've ever gone fasting is 21 days. I've done that 3 different times, 21-day fast. And I thought it was a good shot to try to go for 40. Obviously, knowing how to fast, I've done this many times, knowing that when my body gave me a clue to end it, that I would end it. And that clue came yesterday. And we'll get to that here in a minute. But welcome, welcome. Come on in. Make yourselves at home. You're in the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. We're going to reflect on the things that I learned in the midst of my 18-day water fast. It did officially end at 10:32 yesterday morning. So literally almost exactly 18 days where all I consumed was water and salt. And so a lot of people are like, wow, that's a super long fast. How did you do it? How did you not get so hungry? And so let's back up. So when I first started the fast, and plus I've done a mini fast before, so I kind of knew what to expect with fasting, but the first day of the fast was super easy. That's pretty much keto. When you do kind of 1 meal a day, you're going to not really feel hungry in the first day of a fast. In fact, I was just talking to a friend who is currently doing a 3-day fast, and I was checking in on her just to see how she's doing. And she said, oh, I'm only in the 17th or 18th hour. I haven't felt anything yet because she's keto. I'm like, yeah, that's true. You won't feel anything while you're still keto on day 1. It's day 2 and sometimes into day 3 where it can be a little bit of a challenge. And so we talked about that pretty much at length when I did my guided fast that week where we were in days 2 and 3. I don't want to repeat a lot of that here. Just suffice it to say that those were the most challenging physical days of this fast, was days 2 and 3. And by the time I got to day 4, and ever since day 4, I felt absolutely fantastic. I can't describe for you the feeling, the freedom that comes that when you go on an extended fast and you get beyond that adaptation period where your body's pretty much dumping all the remaining glycogen stores and it's basically shifting your body into high gear for fat burning mode, you just don't know that feeling until you get there. If you think you've experienced ketosis at a very deep level, eating a ketogenic diet, you ain't felt nothing yet until you do a really, really long fast. And so people all throughout were like, well, weren't you getting hungry at all? Can I be honest with you? Since day 4, no hunger. I mean, no hunger. Now that seems so bizarre. You're not taking in food. How do you not feel hunger? I think the body, once it makes that shift over, dumping all the glycogen and really kind of cleaning up your body and starts getting it pumped to be able to survive without you giving it sustenance, I think it goes into high gear, and it's exhibited by lower blood sugar levels and higher ketone levels. Well, you don't get those higher ketone levels for no good reason. That's the body very intently tapping into stored body fat. And for the record, in the 18 days, I lost a total of 32 pounds. Now, that won't be 32 actual pounds that stay off my body, but it was actual pounds. I actually went down about a size and a half in my shirts. Like, I was starting to notice my shorts were falling off of my body. I could see physically my shirts were fitting looser. Obviously, I was weighing myself just to kind of see where I was. And I feel it as well. You can feel when you're feeling better and the weight was coming off the body. So huge weight loss. Now that I'm eating again, and we'll get into that in a minute, I will put back on some of that weight because, even when you eat food that's keto, it is going to have somewhat of a glycogen effect in the body, and it's going to kind of replenish some of those glycogen stores, which will come with some water in the muscles. But it's going to, I think I'm going to do a strategy here that I'll talk about that could help keep these benefits going. But man, no hunger from day 4 through day 18. So right at 14 days in a row, I was not hungry, literally not physiologically hungry one single moment. Now, did I have momentary little things where my head said, you should eat? Yes, of course. I think we all go through that psychological thing of, all right, food's there. What do I do with it? Do I really want that? And so I stay pretty focused from a physical perspective. Somebody over on Instagram, did you take salt daily? Did you drink herbal teas? So no, I did do salt, yes. Redmond's real salt, which I still have my plate of it here, was so critical. I did not do any herbal teas. It was basically salt and water only all throughout the fast. So if you just joined us, we are reflecting on what I learned during my 18-day water fast. It just came to an official end yesterday morning. And I was hurting yesterday, you guys. I'll talk about in a minute why I decided to break it and how I felt all day. And obviously I feel really good today. So I wanted to come on camera. I was going to do this yesterday, but I'm like, nope, I'm not feeling it. I'm still having the after effects of this. But today I'm much better. And a lot of people reached out. They were worried about me, but I'm okay. You are in the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. Click on the greenhouse at the top. Come join the club. We would love to have you where we talk about all things fasting. But I wanted to give kind of a recap of some of these lessons. So no hunger from days 4 through 18. Can I tell you what the hardest part of this fast was? Unlike any other fast I've ever done before, this was by far the most emotional one I've ever done. And people are like, emotional? What are you talking about? Why would it be emotional? There's something about depriving your body of food that taps into some part of your subconscious, emotional, psychological thoughts. I'm fully convinced of that. I think the religious leaders who have called for fasting for kind of religious purposes, I think without even realizing this was true, physiologically what would happen, how it would impact your emotions, I think they kind of knew that. And then, of course, they tie it to God and all that. But there's just such a getting in touch with your inner being that I just can't describe unless you've been on a super long fast. You really can't relate to what I'm talking about. But I had moments in the midst of this fast where there was a whole day, I want to say around day 11 or 12. I was so distraught the whole day. It was just kind of this feeling of despair. I mean, it just hit me hard to the point that it was starting to physically affect it. That was the day I probably battled hunger the most, except for yesterday. Yesterday would have been the most, but that day 11 or 12, whatever it was just hard on me. And I think when you're not busy with eating food and you're just kind of left with your thoughts, and then keep in mind your brain is being flooded with ketones, it just brings on all of these thoughts that I think sometimes we need to have not just some physical autophagy going on. I think there's some mental and emotional and psychological autophagy that has to take place. And I think those days where I felt that extra emotion was some autophagy happening in my emotional state. And people don't want to think about that in the midst of a fast, but I think it's just as important as some of the physiological effects that took place. And this was something I don't remember experiencing on previous fasts before. So it was pretty interesting. And it wasn't just that one day. That was the one day that I felt it the most. I felt it kind of on a low level on most of these days late into the fast. I also found in the midst of this fast, I was going through some various stressors in my life that I think ultimately led to me ending it yesterday. I think eventually the body, if you're not able to handle stress well, eventually the body's going to make you stop. And so let's skip to that for now. Skip to the end, why I ended it on day 18 instead of going all the way to day 40. So yesterday morning when I woke up, I felt kind of groggy, kind of like sluggish. And I'm never sluggish when I get up out of bed in the mornings. I'm a very early riser, East Coast riser, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm wide awake. And so I get up and start doing my work and start doing stuff and just chilling out. And I'm just so tired. So I go lay back down. And I'm like, okay, I can't lay here. I just got up from bed. I can't lay here all day. So then I got on up, was starting to move around and starting to do a few things. And I started just feeling this overwhelming sense of, I can't keep fasting. There's something wrong. And it was just this heaviness. And I said, okay, I am going to go lay down. This is going to pass. It's no big deal, Jimmy. You'll get through this. So I go and lay down, and I lay down for an hour. And do you know, in that hour, I didn't feel any better. After that hour, I was still, I don't know, it's just this heavy feeling. And I'm testing my blood sugar, mind you, and my blood sugar is kind of dropping and dropping and dropping, which it has not done to this degree the entire fast. So I said, okay, something's going on. And I don't need to be the hero. I need to end the fast. My blood sugar got actually into the 30s, which shocks a lot of people. Oh my gosh, that's that you're gonna be in a coma. I still had high ketones, so I wasn't worried. And other than this kind of blah feeling, this was the first time the entire fast where it just wasn't getting better. So I knew from previous fasts it was time to end the fast, and so I did. I ended the fast 10:30 a.m. yesterday. Started eating various foods. I had some cheese, I had some almonds, a little bit of chicken, just nibbling here and there. You don't want to go too much too fast with the food. And I kind of paced it there for about an hour. I was just kind of nibbling here, nibbling there, getting something on the stomach. But I still wasn't feeling well. And my blood sugar was still in the 30s. And I'm going, okay. And I had this huge, heavy feeling all of a sudden that I needed to go lay down again. So I did. I laid down, and the next thing I know, I woke up from a 2.5 hour nap. So the fact that I slept that long, and I never take a nap, literally never take a nap, meant that it was the right thing to break the fast, and it was the right thing to eat some food and try to rest, which is what I did most of the day yesterday. When I woke up, I was still groggy. I still had the blood sugar was still in the 30s. I went and ate some more. Again, nibbling for about an hour on all the above aforementioned foods that I just talked about. and then just tried to calm myself. I got in the hot tub and just chilled out. Blood sugar still in the 30s. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm eating food now. It should be coming up. And then around 6 o'clock, I decided to cook some eggs. I have backyard chickens. So I made 4 eggs cooked in some grass-fed butter, and I started eating it. And actually, the eggs did not taste good. I love eggs. I would eat eggs till the chickens come home. They're so good. I don't know. They just didn't taste good. So it took me like 30, 45 minutes to eat 3 of those eggs. I couldn't even finish the eggs. I was so full. And so at the end of that, still, I would see it bump up to like 41, but then next thing I know, it's back down in the 30s again. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. And hopefully when I wake up tomorrow morning, which was this morning, I would feel much better. Well, I did feel much better when I woke up. I went to sleep, got in a good amount of sleep considering I napped for 2.5 hours yesterday. And I woke up and started eating a lot of those same foods, just kind of getting stuff on my body. And what did I see happen this morning? Blood sugar popped up to 70, then 92, then it topped out 106. And remember, I'm eating the exact same foods I did yesterday where it wasn't budging in the blood sugar. Today, it was kind of going all over the place. So right before I came on the air, my blood sugar was 60. So it's doing this little song and dance that happens when you break a fast. You're going to see your blood sugar kind of go, okay, we don't know where to go because you haven't fed us food in 18 days. And so it's finally kind of settling in at a kind of a nice kind of 60 to 70 range, which is pretty good because keep in mind, what did I do during the fast? I primed my body to burn fat for fuel. So it's still energizing itself with stored body fat, which means I'm probably still losing weight. And it's starting to metabolize this food again. It's starting to recognize, okay, I'm in a fed state again. So I'm still going a little bit slow today with the food. I did add in pork rinds and chicken salad. I made like a little thing like that. Just slowly adding back in food. I think tomorrow I will have my first beef meal. It's either going to be ground beef or a steak. Because you need to be real careful about reintroducing fats too quickly. And I see Brian's in the audience. He knows he wanted to have a big steak to break his meal, break his fast. And that would have been a disaster had he done that because you don't want to go too much too fast on the fats because your body has to reproduce bile again because it's been dormant for so long. So for me, I know that. So far, so good. I did have my first solid bowel movement after about 18 hours post-fast when I started eating again. I had that 18 hours later. I had the first solid bowel movement since before the fast. So that was cool to see. And I feel fantastic. Like, I really feel good. I was disappointed that I didn't go the 40 days, but 18 days is pretty damn hardcore. And I'm not going to bemoan that I, quote, only went 18 days. I'm celebrating today. I think this is something that if you can do this, it's something most people would never even imagine trying to do. In fact, I've got a friend locally that was checking on me the other day and, hey, what you been up to? I'm in the midst of this fast. He's like, fast? Why would you starve yourself? I'm not starving myself. I'm fasting. Thank you. I had to explain the difference. And she's like, how long have you been fasting? I said, I don't know, like day 14. She, 14 days? What? But the cool thing is I'm a brand new body. Like literally, my body is totally brand new. The cells have turned over. I got full-blown autophagy. My immune system is brand new. Like literally, if I wanted to create a new Jimmy, I've done it. And I'm pretty proud of that. I'm pretty happy about that. So now that I'm feeding again, I will be adding in more beef soon. I will also be adding in some fermented foods. I bought some kombucha today, trying to replenish the gut health because in the midst of a fast, you are killing off a lot of gut microbiome, but a lot of the bad part of that as well. So another benefit of this fast, and the fact that I had a solid bowel movement today was proof that the microbiome that is in there is some good stuff. And they're taking care of business. But I want to open the floor to you. Do you have any questions about an 18-day water fast? Maybe you're curious about this. whether you should try it or not, or really any questions about fasting. I am open game to this today, you guys. Raise your hand. We'll bring you up on stage. Would love to talk to you. It's certainly something that I'm a huge advocate of. I don't think everybody needs to fast, but if you find that you could benefit from it, I see there's no harm in just about anybody giving it a go. But my friend Jackie came up on stage. What you got for me, sweetie?
Well, firstly, I wanted to say congratulations. That's really awesome that you did that.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter what your goal is. It's just challenging your body and going a bit further. So well done on that.
Yes.
And then when you say you have, because I'm as you know, I'm planning a 7-day fast in the middle of April. When you say you have salt, so in my everyday world, I take half a teaspoon of salt in the morning, half a teaspoon of salt in the evening, plus whatever I have on my food.
Yes.
Would I need to have more than that, do you think?
It's as needed. That's been my experience, that I only took the salt as needed. I didn't really count it, if I'm being honest, Jackie. I just kept it on a plate. And like I said, I still have this plate right next to me from the last 18 days, where anytime I just kind of felt a blah feeling, I'd get a pinch of that, stick it under my tongue, and just let it get in there sublingually and do its thing. So I don't count. I think you could do the same protocol you're doing now. And then as needed, if you feel fatigued, if you feel any kind of, quote, hunger pangs, if you have any kind of issues where you start to feel blah, that more than anything else always brought me back, like almost instantly. And then drinking adequate amounts of water. I found getting out in the sunshine and grounding my feet into the ground was very helpful as well. So yeah, I wouldn't quantify it so much, just to kind of play it by ear. Do you feel bad? Take a pinch of salt. Are you feeling some hunger pangs? Take a pinch of salt. Are you just kind of feeling like you want some food? Take a pinch of salt. It seems so elementary, but it's so important. And I love it. Like, I probably got in significantly more salt than you do. If I had to quantify it, maybe 2 to 3 teaspoons a day during my fasting. But it also varied. Early on, it was a lot more. Later on, it was a lot less. I think in a 7-day period, day 1, you're going to do your normal amount. Day 2, you'll probably do double your normal amount. Probably into day 3, double your normal amount. And by the time you get to day 4 and you're feeling so good, 4 through 7, you'll probably do your normal amount, maybe just a tinge more than that, and you'll feel just fine for the duration of your 7 days.
Yeah, I did the 62-hour one this week, and I found that whenever I was hungry, I just I have some of the salt. Some of it is ground finely for cooking.
Yes.
And seasoning food, and then I've got the crystals for the grinder.
Yes.
So I just take a crystal and stick that under my tongue.
Yes.
That feeling of I want to eat. It's not sometimes it was when I was hungry, but sometimes it was just I want to eat, so I just had some salt. My other question is, when you broke your fast and you just said you just had some cheese and some chicken, was that chicken breast rather than chicken thighs, or?
It was very lean, yes. Yeah, so it was more on the less fat side of things for the reasons I mentioned. Your body hasn't created bile in a long time during a fast. And so, yes, when you break a fast, definitely when you break your 7-day fast, your bile production is going to be so low. And so, yes, opt for the leaner meats to start. That's why I said I'm not going to really introduce kind of a more fattier source of protein until tomorrow, because I know if I had it too much too fast that I would have a little bit of the refeed syndrome. So let your bile production catch up. That's what I'm rebuilding today, having a little bits of fat in the form of the cheese and other sources and the nuts. But when your body's ready, give it a go. But yes, leaner to break it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she brings up a good point, you guys. I meant to mention how much of our, quote, hunger that we deal with in the day-to-day is actually hunger. I'm beginning to wonder, Brian, that a lot of the hunger we feel in our day-to-day is actually thirst and or a lack of salt or other minerals that our body's just trying to get us to fulfill that, but we mistake it for food.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, obviously, when you're feeling that way, you have that pinches of salt, and magically that hunger starts going away. So, yeah, I would definitely would consider that as the reason for you think you're hungry, but you're actually are mineral depleted. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what you got for me, man?
Yeah, so first of all, I wanted to say congratulations. That is quite a feat, and I just was very proud of you for lasting as long as you did. That was incredible.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say too that I thought was quite interesting. You had sent me your ketones, and I was when I was doing the fast, I did 115 hours, and my ketones were like kind of off the charts. I mean,
Yes.
above 8.0. Yeah, and you had sent me a shot of your ketones, and they were I believe it was like in the fours, I think. And so I thought to myself, well, geez, I had to think I had to kind of do some deep thinking here for a second, not deep thinking, but I had to think a little bit about that. I'm like, well, you should have been higher. But then I'm like, wait a second, his body is using the ketones so efficiently, it doesn't it they're being used, and they're being used, and that's why it's not as high
Yes.
as mine. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there.
And it was actually 3.7, not even in the fours, that I sent you the picture.
Yeah.
So, yes, so keep in mind, yours was at the 62-hour mark. That's how long you did it. Yours went super high early. Had I tested mine in the early, say, day 3, 4 of my fast, I probably would have been 6, 7 in my ketones. But yes, over time, the body was like, all right, we got you, bro. We know what this is. We're just going to use this and utilize it more efficiently. So, yeah, people were shocked by that. And see, here's the funny thing. You were freaking out in the week I was doing the guided fast. Oh my gosh, I have a 48 blood sugar. Yesterday, mine got in the low 30s, dude. So talk about like that freaked me out even a little bit. And I've done a lot of these.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. When as a pharmacist, I don't see those blood sugars unless somebody's in the hospital.
Right.
But everything is in context, and this is something that I'm going to be presenting to my team, because I guarantee you they have not seen these types of numbers. But then again, they're not used to seeing people that are fasting and that are in ketosis. But I find the numbers fascinating. And I'm just curious too. So when you broke your fast, and you're checking your glucose, I know you had, I think it was 107. Did you happen to check your ketones at that time? And if you did, what were they?
Yeah, I did not. Today is what you're referring to. I did not, because it was so close after eating. But what was curious to me was the foods that I ate today, where I popped that 107, and it was very fleeting. It was 107 for like 5 minutes and then came right back down to like 80 something. So who knows what made it spike. I was moving around a lot today, and I know sometimes when you start to become active, the body will respond physiologically with higher blood sugar as well. So that's probably what it was more than anything. If I was just remaining steady state, sitting down on a couch, I don't think I would have popped a 107. But eating the exact same foods yesterday that I was today, it's amazing that it wasn't the food, because the food didn't bring it up yesterday. And yet today, the same foods, and it came up. It just goes to show you that when you start introducing foods again, I think the body kind of has to recalibrate. Oh, wow, we've been so used to like no food. Now we have, okay, all right, dummy decided to feed me some food now. So let's, kind of go up and down with the blood sugar until it kind of normalizes. Like I said, it's kind of been in that 60 to 70 range ever since. So yeah, it's been fascinating to watch. It's always fun post-fast to watch all the numbers do what it do.
Yeah, exactly. And I just, again, want to say congratulations. And I'm going to put you on the spot here, Jimmy. I want you to do another guided fast. I hopefully maybe in like in the next quarter or something like that. I loved it. I want to do it again. And you were amazing. Your panel was amazing. And I would like to do that again. So I'm putting you on the spot. I hope you say yes.
Oh,
that's all. Thank you so much.
That's a done deal. You're in the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse now, man. So fasting should be a way of life. I don't think everybody needs to do it, but if you're interested, yes, we will probably set one up sometime in the second quarter. So stay tuned. Thanks, Brian. Sergio, you're up next. What you got for me, man?
Hey, this is amazing, very awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm really shocked at how low your blood glucose was.
Yes.
And how chill you were, and how chill you were about it. I'm just shocked. I mean, you called me over. I would have been like breaking out the bag, checking some glucose, something. I'd be getting you up a little higher. What was your or even orange or something? What was your sort of like glucose earlier throughout the fast and in other fasts?
Yeah.
You said you were a little bit of distress. Like, what was normal? What would be normal?
Yes, typically early on in a fast, say day 2, 3, it's pretty normal. It's kind of keto levels, like 80s and 90s. By day 4, you see this significant drop down to 70 and even below that. When I've done 7-day fasts, I think the lowest I ever got on a 7-day fast previously was like 52, 51, something like that. So when I've done the 21-day fast, I have seen upper 40s, but it never got below upper 40s. This was the first one where it went significantly below upper 40s. And quite frankly, I was in the 40s and felt fine. I'm wearing a CGM on the Freestyle Libre on my arm, and literally 40s, I felt great. Like Brian was mentioning, I have the 3.7, 3.9 blood ketones, and so my body's definitely being fueled heavily by the fat. So the blood sugar itself, the reading itself doesn't freak me out because I knew I was replacing a lot of the glucose with ketones as my energy substrate. So that doesn't freak me out. What did freak me out was when the Freestyle Libre didn't give me a number. It just said LO. And when it goes LO, it means it's sub 40. You don't know what it means, like quantifiably. You don't know what LO means. You just know it's under 40. So I know I was in the 30s pretty much most of like a 20 plus hour time period there. And at the same time, I was starting to feel bad in the midst of that. That was my clue I needed to end the fast. And yes, it was very tempting, Sergio, to go get some carbohydrate. I'm like, I got to get out of this. But I was like, I'm going to ride it out. Like, obviously, if I got even worse feeling, I would have had some carbohydrate to bring it back up. I wasn't worried as long as I still felt pretty much the same or a little bit better. And when I woke up this morning and it was still LO, but I was feeling much better, I'm like, oh, it's going to come back up, watch. And then within like an hour, it jumped to 60 and then 70 and then 92 and then 106. I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm good. The body just had to adjust.
Great. Yeah, from some of our neuroscience colleagues, like the brain can feed on ketones, but it also needs a little bit of glucose. So
yes,
the rest of your body is probably getting on the ketones, but the fact that your glucose was so low is, it's probably why you're feeling like crap. Your brain just wanted a little bit, just a tiny little bit, whatever reason you weren't making it. But thank you for sharing. This is awesome.
Yeah, and I probably should have had a little bit of carbohydrate, maybe like a half a sweet potato or just something that would have bumped it up to get out of that malaise. But I'm also a human science experiment. I like to kind of see things in real time and see what would change without doing anything drastic. I'm kind of glad I did, because now I'm like, okay, that's some future experience. When I experience that, I probably will try the carbohydrate next time to see if it gets me out of that. Thank you, Sergio. Appreciate you coming up on stage. And guys, if you just came in, you are in the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. We are doing a whole reflection all about some of the lessons I learned. I just finished up an 18-day water and salt fast, and so many lessons all throughout this particular fast. And every fast is different. This one was the most unique one I think I've ever had, and I can talk about that here in a second. Raise your hand. You want to come up on stage? You have a question for me or comments? Would love to talk to you, so raise that hand down there at the bottom. Yeah, this one I would say was the easiest one I've ever had, physically speaking. So once I got to day 4, I've never had this easy of a time. I literally was not even thinking about food. I wasn't hungry. Like, from a physical standpoint, if it was just physical until yesterday, I probably could have handled this for as long as my body would let me. And that's amazing. Like for me, I never back in the day would have ever thought that I would go without food for any period of time, thinking back to like 410 pound Jimmy Moore. There's no way I would have ever just purposely given up food. And the fact that I can go 2-3 weeks without food and not even think about it, like that's a minor miracle. And it reminds me again, how much in the day to day do I eat food thinking I need food when in actuality I really don't need as much food as I think or as often as I think. And so I'm going to talk about my strategy here moving forward to try to keep up some of these benefits. But Jackie came back up on stage. What you got, sweetie?
So, personal question here. Do
Yeah.
you live by yourself?
Yes.
So, do you think that the difference in this fast is because you were on your own, so there wasn't anybody around you eating or saying anything? Do you think that made it easier than previously when you were not on your own?
That's a really good point, Jackie. And yes, on previous fasts, I have had some people here. And in fact, I've had to cook for said people. And so, yes, that could make it a little more tempting. So, yeah, I do think that probably does play a role. And I know most people at least have somebody with them when they are fasting. And so that does make it more challenging. But that's a good point. Maybe that's why physically it was a lot easier this time, but emotionally it was harder. Whereas in the past, physically it was hard, but emotionally it was okay. So you kind of trade one for the other, I suppose.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great question. Here's my fellow fasting partner. What's up, Kat? She did a super long fast as well. How long did you go? 16, 17 days? How long did you go?
Almost 17 days.
Yes.
We did it, Jimmy. Congrats.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And I wanted to comment about like how would you do around people who eat. In fact, I was cooking nonstop for my kids and just like I was living normal life. And after day 4, you pretty much stop care about food. Like I told you, Jimmy, before when we talked, like after day 4 or 5 on the second week, the bounds of hunger, they don't even come.
Yes.
Hunger is just like non-existent to the point, like I cannot explain that to somebody who never fasted that long.
So, Kat, you're a medical doctor. Can you explain physiologically what's happening, why that hunger is at bay?
Yes. We have all our hormones that regulate our appetite. And our hormones know what time we normally eat. And our hunger like comes and goes in waves, no matter the end result. Whether we eat or not, the hunger is just gonna go away on its own because those hormones gonna subside in our body. Just like, okay, there is no food, there is no point of us being there. If the food will be there, I guess we're gonna eat. No, like this is like how our body literally responds in terms of like our hormones. So, and after that, it's just like, when we just start fast on the day 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it just like still comes and goes in waves. And if you eat at the same time, usually you're gonna feel it at the same time of the day. So you can plan ahead. Okay, I know I usually have my biggest meal around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., whatever p.m. is in your case. Just like, okay, I'm gonna be occupied. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna be busy like talking with my friend. I'm gonna be busy watching a movie. So you can plan ahead your strategies during your fast and during this time. And sometimes like or you can just sit in your car and drive around. So, and you're gonna feel that hunger just gonna come and go away, and you're gonna feel free again. And after that, after those days, our hormones will lose that pattern. And that's why that hunger is not even coming. And since our ketones are really high, and our ketones are really high, and utilization of ketones is going to depend from person to person. Like you mentioned before, I stopped even checking my ketones. It never goes like really high because like I've been doing it for over 2 decades, like low carb. So my body is just like utilizing it pretty well. So, and it's not, my body is not producing them more than it needs to. Like for somebody who's relatively new to ketosis, yes, the numbers can be high. But in my case, it's just kind of relevant. I didn't check my blood sugar,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure it was really low too. And I didn't care for the numbers. Even if it was in the 20s, I would be fine. I knew that.
Yes.
It's just like, I didn't care for the numbers. But the next time, definitely we're going to do that fast again. Maybe we have to wait because we did like 17 days. Genie,
Yes.
that's a long fast.
I'm waiting.
That's a long fast.
I'm waiting at least 3 months before I do another 18-day fast. I could probably do a 3-day fast within the next couple of months, but not 18 days. I couldn't do that again that quick.
Yeah. 3 days is nothing for us. What is 3 days anyway? Just like...
Yes, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
Kat, thank you. Thank you for your experience and congrats on going so long. I think besides myself, you went the longest of the people that joined us on the guided fast. So good job. But you're a veteran faster. You've been doing this for years.
Yes, and thank you so much for that support. That support for the first 3, 4, 5 days means everything and sets you up for success.
Yes.
And whoever thinking about doing fast, for the girls, please do align with your cycle. My fast was really easy, and because like I didn't align that in purpose, but when a ladies talked about like aligning with your cycle from the first to, I think they mentioned to the day 14, 15, like that's the best time to do that block fasting. And I think mine happened to be aligned, and probably this was also the reason why it was so easy. That
Yes.
was so easy for me.
Well,
So easy.
you
So
did
girls,
well.
Aligned to you. That yeah.
You did well, Kat, and I'm really proud of you.
And I'm proud of you, Jamie.
Thank you, sweetie.
You are the team, and you rock. You rock.
Thank you. I'm going to put you back in the audience now so we can get to Yvonne. What's up, Yvonne? Yvonne.
Hi.
There she is.
Hi. I've got 3 questions.
Sure.
As someone who's never managed to get beyond 48 hours on a fast,
Yeah.
because I've been completely ravenous by that point. So, some tips on how I might push a little bit beyond that.
All right, let me hit that one first. Hold on. If you say all 3, I won't remember all 3. So let's hit one at a time.
Okay.
That one's easy, Yvonne. I think the mistake most people make is they think, oh, fasting is just the moment that I start the fast. No. Fasting actually begins in the days, maybe even week or weeks leading up to a fast. So I would highly recommend, and this is something I did before this fast, helps so much. Think about the hardest part of this is that 48 to 72 hours. So you're saying you're ravenous by the end of 48 hours. What that tells me is you made the cardinal sin of fasting if you're going to give this a go. You didn't nourish well before you came into the fast. So what I say is try ramping up the fat and protein before you start the fast so that your body is adequately nourished with the fatty acids, is adequately nourished with the amino acids, so that when you go into this full-on fasted, your body's going to be like, all right, we're fat burning. Wow, they gave me lots of energy. And by the time it realizes that you're not giving it any energy anymore, you're going to be beyond the worst part of it, which is that 48 to 72 hour period. So that would be my recommendation if you did not do that this time, or when you've done the 48 hours. If you did not feast up before, try that and see if it helps you get through that 48 to 72 hours.
Sure, no, that's a good tip because I normally eat once or mostly twice, sometimes once. Perhaps, yeah, I should eat 3 times, or
Yes.
just make the meals slightly bigger for
Yes.
a couple of days.
Yes. What was your second question?
The second one was how much salt, in terms of how much you use, because obviously you don't want to flush it all out with too much water as well.
Well, yes. So Jackie mentioned that earlier, and it really is a as needed basis. Anytime I felt kind of weak, I put some salt under my tongue. And I put the pure salt right into my mouth. I know some people like to drink Soleil water or put it in their water. I like the taste of fresh water. I don't like salt water. I feel like I'm in the ocean again. I grew up in Florida, and I had mini salt water in my mouth. It doesn't taste good to me. So I would just take pinches and put it under my tongue, or like she said, have some of that rock salt and just kind of suck on it. I don't think there's a prescriptive amount. I would just say don't skimp on it. There's no reason to skimp on it. And you're right. As you drink more water, your body is going to flush that out. So you have to replenish again. So it's going to be a lot more early on in a fast. Let's say you do a 5-day fast. It's going to be a lot more in day 2, 3 of the fast than it will in 1, 4, 5 of that fast.
Sure, thanks. And my last thing was when you're breaking the fast,
Yep.
I find, I routinely do 18 to 24 hours. And when I first start eating, I just want to keep on eating. It's like I haven't been that hungry, but as soon as my body starts eating. So is it easy to just have the little bits that you're having before you ramp up?
Yeah, in fact, that's recommended. Although an 18 to 24 hour fast, I don't really consider a fast that you have to break. It's just called keto to me. But if you're doing these longer fasts, 72 plus hours, extended fasting, for sure, have a little something on the stomach, kind of let that settle. That's what I did yesterday when I broke my 18-day fast. I had a little bit of cheese, a few raw almonds, just a little something to get on the belly, get blood flowing back again to the stomach again, and let it kind of settle. It was so funny because like as soon as I put that food in there, within 5 minutes, I heard, I was like, okay, I guess it's saying, what the hell? So, but it eventually calmed down, and I eventually felt better, and I decided to eat more food. And I did it slowly and kind of ramped it up slowly. But that's a great strategy. Yes, make sure that you take it slow and add it back methodically, and you should be able to reintroduce food pretty easily.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Yvonne. Appreciate you coming back on stage. Looks like Dawn came back up on the stage. What's up, Dawn?
Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, hey.
Congratulations on your fast.
Thank you.
I missed part of the conversation. I had a phone call with my son's surgeon, so I did miss the last few minutes.
No worries.
But, I had my own little journey with fasting. Fasting is definitely what has helped me the easiest method to lose weight. And I actually lost 45 pounds, maybe more, since November.
Wow.
Of November.
Great job.
The first 35 came off in like 6 weeks. And then I stopped fasting so much because I was, I don't need to lose too much more weight. So right now I'm like skinny fat is the result of what I've found. And I'm not hungry at all. So eating more protein is hard because, like you said, that hunger kind of goes away.
Yes.
And I know how to get it back. It would be forcing myself to eat, but I don't want to get it back to that extreme because out of fear, because I did have a food addiction
Right.
prior with like tons of cravings and thinking I'm hungry when I'm not, just like that, and an emotional attachment to food. So I don't want to like go there. So I'm trying to find balance because I do fall in the range of a sort of a healthy weight, but my scale says that I'm kind of obese when it comes to too much fat, not enough muscle. So that was my challenge going forward is to sort of like maintain it. I don't want to get thinner because the last experience I had with fasting, actually I got so thin I stopped feeling like a woman. I was cold all the time, and my bones hurt. I was just too thin. So I'm trying to prevent being too thin, add muscle without gaining weight, and creating a food addiction. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations on utilizing kind of a combo of keto and fasting to get to your goals. And you've asked the golden question of how do I kind of maintain this without keeping up that schedule? I invited up my friend Lesha, who is an expert in women's hormone health. And can you help her out with some ideas, Lesha?
Yes, I'm sorry. I wasn't completely listening. Can you repeat the question?
Dawn, kind of recap your story.
Okay. So, anyways, in the past, since November, I was able to lose about 45 pounds, give or take, through intermittent fasting and, watching what I ate with low carb. I don't know if I could claim it as keto fully, but I did lose my hunger hormone, or whatever makes you feel hunger, or the emotional attachment. I lost the attachment to food, so I don't really feel hungry. Sometimes I eat like a few bites and I feel like I'm going to throw up. So now I'm skinny fat because of the lack of protein, I think, that I had during my fasting period. So right now I don't want to cause another food addiction by force feeding myself, and I don't want to go without. I don't want my muscle to deteriorate. So I'm trying to find balance. I need to gain muscle and lose a little bit of fat and just maintain the same kind of weight without going too skinny, because I ended up too thin before with no fat, and I was cold and had to wear a sweatshirt to the grocery store in the middle of the summer. So I don't want to do that.
Okay. Have you had your hormones tested or your thyroid tested or anything like that?
Not recently, but I had, like maybe 5 years ago.
Okay. Well, it sounds like to me you might want to get that tested. All the things that you're saying, that you're not hungry anymore and that you're really cold in the summer, that sounds to me like some symptoms of hormone dysregulation. I would start with that. And as far as the eating goes, yeah, I mean, weightlifting and upping your protein is going to be the best way to avoid that skinny fat, which a lot of people deal with keto. They lose a lot of weight, but then they're pretty much skinny fat. But I would first start with that, because to me that is really weird that you're not ever hungry and you feel like throwing up after you eat. So either there's something with your ghrelin, which is your hunger hormone, that tells you you're hungry, or your leptin tells you that you're full. There might be something off with that. So I would highly, highly recommend that you get your full panel of all the hormones tested first.
All right, thanks for your suggestion. In my mind, I would believe that I actually could reintroduce my hunger hormone by eating unhealthy, because that's proven in the past. So I don't know, about, I think that the fasting actually causes, not a hormone, but I will consider it because, why not cross that off the list? It just doesn't make sense to me, because it's able to change. Like, if it was just a hormone, how would I be changing it? Like, my overeating, did I have that when I was fat? Well, I guess I'll call myself fat last summer. Like, did I just develop it when I started fasting? That's a question I would bring up.
I mean, our body changes all the time, right? We're not static. So just because you didn't have a specific issue last year doesn't mean you don't have it now. I mean, it happened to me. I had no hormonal issues, and then out of nowhere, because of chronic stress, I had all of them. And so our bodies are always constantly changing. It doesn't seem normal to me that you're never hungry, or that when you eat, you want to vomit. Like, that is, to me, just a sign there that there's something that might be off. So that's where I would start with. That's, if my client said that to me, I'd be like, okay, let's go get all your hormones checked out.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that advice, and I'll definitely follow you. Definitely interested in other people's reactions to fasting, because it has happened to me before. The same exact thing. I lost 107 pounds through intermittent fasting. I wasn't hungry, but then people told me that I was too thin, and I force-fed myself and became obese again.
Well, there is such thing as too much fasting. I think Lesha will agree with this, especially as a woman, you got certain times of the month where fasting would be horrendous. And we talked about that in that first week that we kind of did the guided. I had some experts on here, and that week leading up, maybe even the 10 to 11 days leading up to your cycle, that is the worst time for you to be fasting. As a woman, you need to have your progesterone levels staying up. But then the best time, like Kat was talking about, is kind of that first 10 to 15 days of your cycle beginning. So maybe timing up your fasting with your cycle would be a way to manage some of the issues you're having.
Yeah, I agree. I think as women, we tend to overdo everything, right? We tend to overdo the whole calorie counting and the keto and the fasting. And again, like Jimmy said, the week before your period is not a great time to fast. So you do have to kind of in line, especially if you're in your reproductive years, to work with your biology instead of against it. We can't fast the same way that men fast, and you can't absolutely overdo a good thing like fasting.
Well, all right. Thank you so much for your advice.
Dawn, thank you. Lesha, while you're up here, what do you think about this experiment that I did? Any thoughts?
Yeah, you're crazy. No, I think it's awesome. I always love to do like N=1 and push your body, see how far we can go. The longest fast I've ever done was 7 days.
Yes.
And I felt like after you do it for so long, you're just like, well, I probably could keep going.
Yes.
But, maybe I should eat. And I just think it proves, like, your experiment proves to people that, like, hunger is pretty much all in your mind.
Yes.
And so it makes me laugh when I hear people say, like, that if they didn't eat in 2 hours, they're starving. Or like, oh my God, I need to eat. And I'm just like, well, no, you actually don't. And the fact that our bodies are able to survive and we have enough, all of us have enough fat to live off of for a long time. It just goes to prove that when you're hungry, you really need to ask yourself, am I really hungry, or am I just so used to eating because it's the time, or habit and norms, all the things. So I think it's amazing because it just shows that, like, hey, it's possible. You're alive, you're well, you're fine, right? So I think it's awesome.
And for those people that think you're starving yourself, like when you shift your body into that burning your fat for fuel, like which a lot of people do tap into somewhat that mechanism when they go keto, but not everybody. And some people, oh, I'm always hungry on keto, or I will always be hungry. No, kind of when you get to that transition, which on a fast is usually day 3, 4, like literally the satiety kicks in, and I did not feel one bit of hunger from day 4 through 18. It was amazing. Well, Lesha, thanks for your comments. Vera, you're up next. What you got for me?
Hi.
Hey.
I came late to the room. Did I hear you right? 18 days no food, just water?
You got it, Toyota.
Oh my God. And did I understand right? When you get hungry, you get some salt, something like that?
Yes, salt can definitely mitigate some of the hunger and cravings that you would have during a water fast. Yes.
So will I be able to do it with my keto? Just started actually for 2 days after I spoke to you last time.
Yes, I remember you. So I would say
eating only 1 meal a day.
Yes.
But I'm getting hungry about 11 p.m. I start to get hungry. Oh God, and I have insomnia, so I don't sleep at night. If I do grab some salt, like a bit of salt, would that help me not to eat?
I would be worried that you have insomnia, because that's a confounding variable that will lead to hunger that's non-related to your food intake or not intake. So I would say get the insomnia under control. And that's one thing, you guys, that I did this whole fast. I'll talk about the stress in a minute, but from a sleep perspective, it was struggling a little bit, but I did pretty good pretty much the entire fast. Is it worse than on keto? Yeah, it was worse than keto, but it was still pretty good sleep. So I'd be concerned, Vera, if you're dealing with insomnia, that could be a confounding variable that would make it more challenging. But also look at what your goals are of the fasting. Are you trying to produce extra fat loss? Are you trying to enhance brain health? Are you just trying to just reset your body and get some of the autophagy benefits, turning over of the cells to get a new immune system? What would be your goal? Figure that out.
I want you please to tell me, as a first time fasting, how many hours I should do, because definitely I will never be able to do it for days.
Well, no, you wouldn't start with that. So you say you're already doing OMAD, so that's 24 hours. If you do OMAD 24 hours, I'd say, okay, you want to try a fast, try 36. And then, okay, you accomplish 36. The next time you try to fast, try 48. And I don't even think most people need to do this kind of super long one like I did. I know that I can survive it. That's why I do these. That I know that I can thrive with it. Like I said, I lost 32 pounds. And I got all those benefits of the turning over of the cells. I feel like a new guy. I really do. I had a lot of aches and pains in my body. They're all gone, every single one of them. So it's kind of like, figure out what your purpose is in this. And if the longest you've done is 24, just try a little longer and see how you do.
And about the tiredness, like I do get tired. What shall I do?
Yeah, if you're tired, I think that's the insomnia kicking in that you were talking about. So I would try to work with a sleep doctor that can help you get that under control. It will be a confounder because we know from some research that when you miss a good night's sleep, just one good night's sleep, it can actually make you metabolically on your blood panel insulin resistant. And so if you do that on a consistent basis, you can actually become insulin resistant. So I'd work on that before you even think about trying to fast.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vera. Appreciate you coming up on stage. And guys, we still have time if you want to raise your hand, come up on stage. But I do want to tell you my strategy now. So I did this, as Lesha said, you crazy man. I did this 18-day fast and I feel good from it. I got a lot of the benefits that I was hoping to get out of it. So how do I keep the benefits going? How do I keep the fat loss going, for example? So 32 pounds, I'm going to probably put back on at least 10 to 15 of that just from the water, from the food consumption that I'll have the next few days. So I have this idea that I'm going to start kind of mixing up my intermittent fasting. I've kind of coined a new term for this, intermittent fasting. So today, because it's the first full day that I'm eating, I'm probably going to eat throughout the day today. Tomorrow, though, maybe what I do is eat one meal and have that OMAD kind of 24-hour fast. Then maybe the day after that, I decide, okay, I want to have 2 meals within a 6-hour period, so do an 18-6 fast. And then maybe for a day or two, skip those 2 days and fast again. I think the body can become very accustomed, just like with any nutritional plan, you want to mix up the foods. With any exercise plans, you don't want to do the same exercise. I think intermittent fasting can work the exact same way. So I think the key to me being successful in keeping these benefits going is to mix it up. And so that's what I'm going to plan on doing. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll see on my stories, I will post a lot of what I'm doing. I'm currently wearing a CGM so I can see my blood sugar. I will let the blood sugar also guide me as to how I do the fasting. If I see blood sugars get a little wonky, maybe I will go ahead and fast for that day. I just think, as Lesha pointed out, how much of our hunger is true hunger and how much of it is just our mind telling us that we need to be eating. And it's something every time I do a long fast, I get out of that and I go, dang, how much do I eat where I didn't really need to eat, but I did it because I thought I had to, some obligation. Yeah, so I always come out of it thinking I'm going to change. I'm going to rethink my strategy. Obviously, you still need to eat. Your body still has specific needs, but do you need to eat as often as you do or as much as you do? That's what I'm going to tinker with here in the days and weeks after this fast has completed. So I'm really, really happy to start kind of experimenting with that and seeing how that goes. Looks like Vanessa wants to come up. Come on up, Vanessa. Hit that little accept. We'll come up on stage and you're on the floor. What you got for me?
Hi, so I was just wondering, as far as when you start a fast like this, because it sounds like you've done this multiple times,
Yep.
Are there other metrics besides pounds that you're measuring? Are you measuring, do you have like a scale that tells you your body fat percentage so you can determine how many pounds of fat did you actually lose during this?
You most certainly could use a body impedance scale to do that as well. So yeah, I mean, and it's obvious you will lose body fat. People always worry, well, when I go on a long fast like that, I'll lose a lot of muscle. Why would the body prefer muscle? That's never made sense to me. If you've got body fat, that is the most usable source after it dumps your glycogen within that first 2 to 3 days. Then it taps into the next best energy source. It's not your muscles, it's your body fat. And until the body fat stores have gone down sufficiently, it doesn't even try to touch your muscles until your body fat's in single digits and you just have no other energy substrate. Because if it tapped into muscle, it would have to convert that protein into glucose through the liver. It's not an efficient way to energize the body. So yeah, I think you would easily tap into stored body fat if you did it in that way. And so body impedance would definitely show you how much that body fat percentage is changing, for sure. But
and on this particular fast, did you check what your body
yeah,
fat percentage
I
was
don't
before
currently
and
have a body impedance scale. I can tell you I lost a shirt and a half size, 1.5 sizes on my shirt size, and I could physically see my stomach get smaller. And then of course losing the weight on the scale. So I know I lost body fat. I can't quantify it. I did not do it for this fast. I did test blood sugar. I did test blood ketones. So these are some other quantifiables. I would within a week possibly like to run a full blood panel, like see what happened to my insulin and my inflammation markers, some of the cholesterol numbers, just to kind of see what happens there as well. Obviously, when you make these changes, dramatic things happen within your body. I know in previous fasts where I have tested various things, one of the most surprising changes was in my lipoprotein little a. So that's an advanced heart health marker, and it had always been super high, somewhere in like the 400s. And so when I went on an extended fast, I want to say that one was one of the 21-day fasts. In 21 days, it came down to below 100. So it got into a very healthy range simply by fasting. So those are the kind of things that I quantify for the success on a fast.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Appreciate you coming up on stage, and welcome to Clubhouse. So you have the party hat. So guys, quite the ride this last 18 days, but it's not the last time I'm doing a fast. This is the second longest fast I've ever done. I've done 3 21 days. And now this is the longest I've done up to before 21 days. So pretty damn proud of this. I'm excited about keeping the benefits going. We'll probably do some clubhouse rooms here on the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse. So definitely go hit that greenhouse, subscribe. Would love to have you join anytime we talk about some of these things. I will probably do a clubhouse room and try to bring on a few experts to talk about this whole idea of mixing up the intermittent fasting protocol so that you get the best benefit out of it. So if you're interested in that, definitely follow along this clubhouse. Dawn wants to come up on stage, but we'll be working on that. What you got for me, Dawn?
I just wanted to say congrats. I've been missing your voice, Jimmy. So when you were talking about getting some more rooms going on, yeah, I think that's an awesome idea, because when you speak in the morning, it's like 4 a.m. I've really been working on my sleep, right? So it's like, okay, Jimmy Moore or my sleep.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, I'd love to hear more, because I'm totally intrigued. You know, like I've never done any extended long fasting, but I also resonated just a bit with Dawn previously when she was talking, because I am lean. I'm built lean, even though I weigh a lot. So, you know, everybody's always, you're too skinny. You know, I'm tall and I'm lean and I do work out, but I'm also 57. So, you know, you just answered that question just a second earlier about, because I am worried about losing my muscle. I mean,
yes.
I'm working hard, you know, to keep, not working hard. I mean, I'm 57. I don't want that cortisol spikes, you know, because I am working too hard. But
right.
I do pay attention to that. But I want the benefits. I don't want the fat loss.
Yeah.
You know, but boy, oh boy, I want those benefits. And so, yeah, if you got some more rooms going on, Jimmy, that would be awesome. I thought I'd like to try to play with that, to see if I could join in on
yes.
You know, getting a few people to do a 5-day or 3-day or a 5-day and then a 7-day. You can and extend it. So yeah, just keep on chatting about it, because I'm just learning, and I'm not just learning. I've been doing a lot of research, and I do a lot of N of 1 stuff with myself.
Yes.
So it all intrigues me, and I think that this is another step. But it's like, like,
that's not a bad idea to lead a 3-day fast. And maybe if you want to do something like that, Dawn, reach out to me. You know how to find me. And maybe we'll do a guided 3-day fast, and you and I moderate the room, and we just kind of talk, bluntly about how things are going and da-da-da. If you're interested in that, when you want to do that, I can definitely help you run that room if you want to do something like that.
I would love that. That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll see if I can touch base with you because, yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jimmy.
You're welcome. By the way, on the muscle thing, you got to remember ketones are a muscle sparing. They have a muscle sparing effect. And so in the presence of ketones, which you're on a fast, and especially by day 4, super high level of ketones, they're not going to allow your body to break down muscle. They're muscle sparing. So that's also an added layer of protection that when you get deep into a fast, it's not going to mess with your muscles because the ketones are actually acting as a guard in front of your muscles, not to allow the body to break it down. Again, it pushes you towards that usable source of energy. When there's no more glucose in the body, the next usable source of energy is fat. And that's why it taps into stored body fat so efficiently.
Yeah, well, that's good to know that because I think that's really the only thing that's been holding me back is, like I don't want to lose muscle. I've got fat in there for sure. I mean, on the contrary to what everybody else keeps telling me, because
right.
I am the minority, right? Like, like most people have a weight, like they're overweight. So it's like I do look like the non-normal one, especially in Canada and the States, like the 2 leading states for obesity. So yeah, that is definitely a concern of mine is that protein. So that makes me feel good. I utilize that. My ketones really good. Like I do check once in a while my ketones, just usually when I'm experimenting on something, and whether it's adding some carbs in, like healthy carbs or whatever. But yeah, I'm kind of like, I sit at that 0.4, 0.5 as a keto carnivore, like with adding a bit of nuts and stuff. So I'm pretty, like, I hope my ketones will protect them down muscles.
Yeah, and again, in a fasted state, that will jump up, triple, quadruple that easily, at least that. So, and keep in mind, even single-digit body fat athletes, these muscle builders, they still have enough fat on their body that would support even fasting as well. In fact, there's a friend of mine on Instagram, Tailored Keto Health, Rebecca Farmer. I mentioned her on the morning show today. She, 1 year ago, was sub 70. She's a full-grown adult woman, under 70 pounds, had 20 autoimmune conditions. And so she started eating really heavy, fatty meat carnivore and was able to get her body weight up to 130. And recently, she was kind of inspired by my fasting to try to implement some fasting. So she's rolling 3-day fasts and then eating for a couple of days, and 3-day fast, eating a couple of days, just to kind of give herself some of those benefits as well. She did tell me today she's trying not to go below like 119 before she kind of goes, all right, that's enough. She's not trying to lose weight. She's worked so hard to put on weight, but it just shows you the resiliency of the body that even someone who was emaciated under 70 pounds now is even rolling in some cycling of fasting just to get some of the benefits. And that's the thing about fasting. You want to kind of get, what are those benefits I get from it, no matter where I am in my metabolism. Well, thank you, Dawn. Appreciate you coming up on stage. And guys, that's it. Oh, sorry, Dawn. I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't see you talking, so I was like, I'm going to push her down to the room. Sorry about that, sweetie. But thank you for joining me today. Lots of lessons here on this 18-day water fast. Definitely stay tuned. Subscribe here to the Fasting Clarity Clubhouse, and we will Keep sharing lots of information. We did simulcast over here on the Jimmy on Clubhouse Instagram page. So if you missed any part of this episode, you can go back and watch the replay over there on IGTV. Go follow Jimmy on Clubhouse over on Instagram, and you can subscribe there and always watch the replays there. I'm also going to throw this up over on YouTube, so you can watch the replay over there as well. And yeah, thanks for being here today, you guys, and we'll see you around the clubhouse.